Throughout time, people across the world told each other tales of how they came to be, of heroes and monsters, romance and tragedy, death and rebirth. Mythology helped shape the ancient world, explaining the unexplainable. This is Mythology Unleashed. Our tale begins in 5th century China, during the Northern Wei dynasty. A beautiful young woman named Hua Mulan sat at her loom with tears in her eyes. Her heart was broken, and not over a young man, but rather for her father. Roran soldiers from the north had begun to invade China. War was declared, and in a state of desperation, the emperor sent out an imperial decree for conscriptions throughout his kingdom. One man from every family was to fight for his majesty in the imperial army. While there were plenty of young men willing and able to fight for China, some families were not so fortunate. Such was the case for the Hua family, who had no sons old enough to take up arms. Mulan's aging father would have to don his old armor, wield a sword against China's fierce enemies as he had done so a lifetime ago. Mulan knew in her heart, if her father were to go off to war, he would not come home. After endless thoughts, Mulan came to a decision. She purchased a fine horse from the eastern market, a saddle and stirrup from the western market, a bridle and reins from the southern market, and a long whip from the northern market. Mulan then cut her hair short. She stole her father's armor and ran away from home to join the army in her father's place. Riding through the day until night fell, she made camp at the Yellow River, where she could no longer hear the calls of her mother and father, only the sounds of rushing water and distant cavalry. At dawn, she made her way to the Black Mountain, and successfully joined the Chinese army. Over the course of 10 years of warfare, Mulan had traversed 10,000 li and fought in over 100 battles. The carnage seemed endless, soldiers and generals on both sides dying in combat. Acts of bravery and brutality no words could ever describe were witnessed by the woman warrior in disguise. Countless foot soldiers of the enemy fell beneath her blade and by the tips of her arrows. It was carnage no one should be forced to witness. After the 10th year of the campaign, the Chinese forces were successful against the Roran invaders, and the particularly brave soldiers were to be honored by the emperor himself, Mulan included among them. Countless awards and honors were bestowed upon China's finest, and Mulan was offered by the emperor a position on the royal council. She thanked him profusely, for it was a great honor to be the emperor's Shang-Shu-Sheng. But she simply asked for the permission and the means to return home. When the Hua family heard of Mulan's return home, they readied themselves for her arrival. Her sister applied her makeup. Her little brother sharpened his knife to prepare a meal, and her parents awaited at the city wall. Accompanied by several of her comrades, Mulan arrived at her home in incredible time, and was immediately embraced by her family and neighbors. She went into her room, cast off her armaments, donned her original garments, and fixed her hair and makeup. As Hua Mulan stepped outside, her family marveled at the transformation and her comrades in arms were all taken aback. For 12 years they had fought alongside one another, and never once did they suspect their fellow soldier was in fact a woman. Amused by their puzzlement and bewilderment, Mulan explained to them that a male hare's front feet are large and go hop and skip. A female hare's eyes are muddled and heavily squinted. But when two hares are running side by side close to the ground, how can anyone tell which of them is a he or a she?